Alright, welcome back. Today we are looking at an SD kit. This is the Xiahou Dun Tallgeese III. SD stands for Super Deformed. This is actually my first SD kit, and I was kind of tempted to buy this for a particular reason, and we'll know when we look inside the box. The super deformed aspect is because of the dimensions. The proportions are weird. The head's quite large compared to the torso, arms, and legs. Everything else kind of gets smooshed together to make this Gundam kit. This SD kit is even different than most others because it has a very specific name, Xiahou Dun, which tells me it has a sort of a character to this particular Gundam. And this is made in China, which is different than the usual Gundam kits, which are made in Japan. So that's a whole different thing. And the Xiahou Dun is actually a Tallgeese 3, which we see here. Some really nice line art. It has this weird logo as well, which says Sangoku Soketsuden and SD Gundam World. So it looks like it's part of some different world altogether. Taking a look at the box, we see the same kind of a CG image of the Gundam that says number 15. So there are more kits in this particular line. We see some of the poses and the weapons of this particular kit, and a small blurb about this particular character. It looks like this is a fully painted kit. The other side again has just an image, and then lastly here we have a QR code to kind of get more info about this particular type of Gundam and some usual indications. This also says that it's a toolless kit, which is interesting. Okay, now let's take a look inside the box. Inside we see a manual, and we have a few runners. They're fairly few and pretty small, so this is a small kit not only in size but also in terms of complexity. Let's take a bit closer look at the manual. The front page has a blurb and a really nice line art of the Gundam, which shows a lot of details. The blurb says Cao Cao's cousin, who has hung out with him since they were young. They have survived countless disasters together and share a bond stronger than just blood relatives. He has a rough side compared to his younger brother Xiahou Yun. Um, the bottom text also explains something about the kit, that it's completely painted in its images, etc. But this is a really nice depiction of how this particular kit should look like. Opening the manual, and we see there's a comic inside, which is very different from usual Gunpla kit manuals. It looks like it's number 8, so there have been 7 comics before. It's read from right to left. We see some evil mobile suits, we see our character and some other mobile suits in the background there. Looks like the evil guys attack on this page, and then here we see the Tallgeese 3 dodge them. This is something really cool because it looks like the story is being played out over these comics, and the kits are actually these characters inside the comics, which is something really nice. On the last page, we see information about this particular Gundam's weapons. And this is kind of the reason I got interested in this particular kit, is the clear parts. The white and purple combination looks amazing, and these clear parts are what kind of caught my attention. We can see that these weapons are named and they have certain characteristics that is given in detail about them, and there are some very fairly basic gimmicks like the different parts combined together. So it looks like this and this combined to make the third item, which is really cool. It's a fairly small kit, there's not much here, but it's still fairly detailed, I must say. Opening the instructions, and yeah, this is something new as well. We have the usual page which outlines the different runners that come inside the kit. Fairly small number again, but this is cool. This is the entire kit being constructed using the different parts inside the box, and this is a very cool representation where we see the hands, legs, arms, heads, all of them coming together to form here. Each of this separate pieces that make the Gundam are all laid out into their own smaller sections, and this is a really cool way to see this particular kit come together. It's a very nice way of showing like the assembly of a kit. Um, Possible here because of the fewer number of parts than usual. All right, let's take a look at the runners. The runners are fairly small. This is a white runner, very few parts, and but we see that they're very well detailed. We have this other white runner as well. Again, lot of details, and this blue is really dark, but it's also very detailed and really well molded. I must say. We also have this gray, which is for the weapons and other stuff, and we also have this yellow gold, which is really cool because it has this shimmery effect inside it, which is um, astounding actually to that it is achieved directly into the plastic molding itself. And we have these amazingly beautiful purple clear parts, which again have a ton of details inside. And lastly, some stickers, some really goofy cartoonish eyes, and some color correcting stickers. The box mentioned that no tools required for this kit, so these are molded in such a way that they're just held by very thin connections to the runner, and you don't need a nipper to cut them off like you would usually do for other Gundams. So you don't need this, you can just push them out like that. Really cool. All right, taking kind of a 360-degree look at this. It's a small kit, but there's quite a bit of detail packed in there. The surface detail is quite astounding. Even the clear parts are also pretty detailed. I've done a few things to kind of improve the look and make the details more apparent. I have added panel lining to this so that the details come through. Let's take a look at the articulation. This spear slash gun kind of rotates, and so does this. They are on semi ball joints. The arms completely rotate, they're on ball joints as well, and there is an up and down movement as well. Same for the other hand. One thing is, though, this elbow bend is permanent. The way this thing is molded, you can't really bend them, but they can twist inside there. And then the hands also are on a ball joint, so they can also rotate and bend a fair bit. But yes, the hands are kind of not that articulate. For the legs, you can bend them backwards a little. There's no full knee bend. The feet themselves also bend a little side to side, also very little. This is a flimsy kit, so sometimes these parts come out in your hands. Taking a look at the ab crunch, you can actually go pretty far back, and then there is a pretty decent ab crunch as well. Looking at the head, it's a large one, but it is on a two-way joint. There is a ball joint, so you can rotate around, and you can go pretty far to the front and back because of another um, joint in there. For panel lining, I actually used a mix of acrylic wash, which is I made it using some water-based acrylic paint, some water, and liquid soap, dish soap, um, fairly small amounts so that it gets a little bit more flowing. And then I cleaned it up with like toothpicks, but it all helped bring out all this detail in the Gundam. Let's look at some of the gimmicks. This is sort of a clear mask slash visor, which I really like putting on because I don't like the large eyes. We also have this cannon called Dohaho Go, which slots on the side just like that. Apart from that, you can actually put it on his arm by fitting it in a small peg at the bottom, and this becomes the Dohaho Go, which is a sort of a cannon, apparently. And yeah, it can pose with the arm outstretched that way. The Ryojin Heki is a sharp pointed spearhead that is attached. We can remove it and add it to the Dohaho Go to make the Doha Godan, which is a dense beam blade created by using the Dohaho Go in the Ryojin Heki. So that's something cool. It's a really big weapon, I must say. They also gave this SD cardish looking thing called memory, which helps make this cannon's output more powerful, apparently. Looking at the size comparison, this is besides an RX-78-2, we can see that it's much smaller and the proportions are more weirder. Legs are shortened, hands are shortened, but the head's quite large. This is how it looks besides a really normal Gundam. Now, while this kit is fairly detailed for its size, I must say that there are a few gripes that I do have about this kit. Primarily, it's not color accurate out of the box, which I understand given the price, but yeah, this if you want to paint it, you can go ahead and paint it, but there are a lot of inaccuracies. The feet, they are not gray, they are white with only certain parts showing up as gray. These pieces, golden armor pieces, I painted white with a Gundam marker for that section to kind of get it closer, but it doesn't look as great. Even the blue pieces on the side are completely white, and this is supposed to be darker, but there isn't that much in here to do with it. But my biggest gripe is the stickers. There are the eye stickers which I don't like, but that's fine. There were other stickers that barely held on trying to put this piece here, and it just got out. There was no way to keep it attached. It just came out. The worst stickers that I've ever encountered on a Gundam kit was on this thing. So yeah, that was not enjoyable. And if you look at this, there is nothing in this section. These are just kind of open and hanging out there, which is not great because yeah, this kit is not made to be looked from behind. Essentially, you just look at it from the front, because yeah, it's just kind of hiding those empty legs back there. Although this kit has its cons, I must still say that it's not a terrible kit given how detailed the smaller sections are. Um, it's still a fun build, especially if you're kind of younger and just want to, try building out a small Gundam kit. I must say it only costs like one third of a normal high grade, so that's going for it as well. It's cheap, and it's something that can still have a nice shelf presence if you do like panel lining, etc., and kind of cute as well. So not a terrible kit, but definitely could use some improvement. So not a completely terrible kit, and I would say if this is something you can get your hands on and could be your first Gunpla, not a bad one to start with. Let me know how was your experience building an SD kit down in the comments below as well. This is it for today's video. From a creative desk signing off. Until next time.